Welcome to Chronos Gaming. In today's video, we'll be checking out how to quickly level up your classes and careers in Hell Let Loose. There are many different methods depending on if you want to play more passively or actively. I'll talk you through everything you need to know about the leveling system, so you will have a complete understanding where the experience you are gaining actually comes from and what you need to do to get more experience to get those loadouts faster. Please consider subscribing as it motivates me to create more quality content for you guys, as only 4.1% of my viewers have subscribed. Thank you all who have been supporting so far. There will be a Hell Let Loose related giveaway soon, so stay tuned until the end to find out. And now, let's dive in. Let's go over the experience, primarily what does it consist of, and what actually gives you the experience. So there are 4 sources of experience which you can gain, and those you can see on the scoreboards. We have combat effectiveness or combat score, which you can get by killing enemy soldiers, destroying their vehicles, enemy structures such as nodes and garrisons, and placing mines as any class. Then we have offensive effectiveness or offensive score. You get points each minute that you have spent in an offensive zone. Then we have defensive effectiveness, for which you get points for each minute that you have spent in a defensive zone. And last but not least, we have support effectiveness or support score. And that primarily comes from dropping supply boxes, building structures, spawning from OPs or garrisons, driving a truck. I'll show you a detailed overview of that in a little bit. To see your points, find your name on the scoreboard and check your row. To see your squad's total points, find your squad name, which is above you, and check that row to see the total points. Both of these will be used to calculate how much experience you will gain at the end of the match. I know the calculation process may be confusing for some, so I'll explain it in a simple way so you can understand how the experience is allocated. So whenever you play, the experience you gain goes towards 2 things, your class level and your career level. Remember we checked where to find our points? If we calculate all of those together, then that and only that will be the total sum of what we will be earning for our class. Or if we played multiple roles in a game, then it will be spread out, but the total sum will remain the same. That was class experience in a nutshell. Now let's check out where career experience comes from. Career experience consists of and is calculated additively of our points, our squad points, time bonus, commendations, and win or loss bonuses. So let me do the calculations with you right now. So we calculated before that our points was 1,856. After our points came squad points, and those were 2,540. So if we add those together, we get 4,396. Then we get the time bonus. Then we add the time bonus to the 4,396, which we calculated before, and we get 4,845. Then we got our 10% commendation bonus, which we'll add to our 4,845. And that results in 5,329. And followed up, last but not least, our match win bonus, which is 50%. Let's add that. And there you go, 7,994. That was the entire calculation. And this entirely goes to your career level. And of course, at the end of the game, you can see where your class experience went to. If you remember, we had 1,856 points to our name. I mostly played as a squad leader, so majority of experience is in that. But I hopped to a spotter for the final 5 minutes, so there is little XP in that class as well. There are some caveats to gaining class and career experience. Whenever you are playing the game, you are gaining class and career experience in real time, only based on your points. So you will see that it's possible to level up your classes and careers mid-game. This means that you can leave at any point during the game, but the experience you have gained for your class and career will be automatically saved anyway. Let me demonstrate that to you. There are 2 ways to check this. First way to check it is that you can go to your barracks and see your career experience to the next level. For me, that is currently 75,220. I'm going to hop into a game for a minute to gain some experience and jump back out again to check the barracks to see if we gained any experience. I deployed in the game for 1 minute to get 20 points to my name for the defensive score, which I got for spending 1 minute in a defensive zone. When going back to the barracks, we can see that my career experience is now 75,240, so I gained 20 experience in real time. This method, of course, only shows you the career experience, but I will show you how to check the class experience as well. For that, let's join a server again, join a squad, pick my class, and then head over to Steam, where I open my profile and click the achievement progress under Hell Let Loose. Then I scroll down to see the current numbers. Total career experience right now is 12,355,801. And class experience is 22,963. Now let's deploy and get those 20 points once again. Once we get our 20 points, let's check the Steam. Now we need to refresh the page. So we're now at 12,355,821. And my class experience is now 22,983. And I'm still in the game. Once again, I will note that you will gain only your experience in real time and not your team's. By the way, this neat little trick you can use to track your progress on achievements as well. Now let's talk a little bit about team points. Let's say you joined a team that had a lot of points mid-game and there was 37 minutes to play as per my example. You might have wondered, how are the team points distributed once I joined the team mid-game? Will I not get what they have already earned? I have thought about this too at one point and decided to bring it out here as well. Luckily, it does not matter how many points the team had when you joined them, but if you finish the game with them, you will get all the points that the team members have gotten throughout the entire game, plus all the bonuses that come at the end of the game. We have went over how the calculation works and I showed you what the score was when I joined the game. Let me show you how the game finished. As you can see, I did get all of the points the team had earned throughout the entire game. So in conclusion, it does not matter when you join the game in terms of how many points you are going to get. What happens if you leave the game? Let's say you played for an hour, but now you have to go for some reason. If you do leave the game at any point before it finishes, you will miss out on the team bonus, time bonus, commendation bonus, and win or loss bonus. So if each commendation is 10% bonus experience and you can be commended 5 times maximum, then you're looking at up to 50% bonus commendations. Additionally, if you lose, then 25% bonus, or if you win, then 50% bonus. So in a perfect scenario, you could rack up to 100% bonus experience for your career on top of all the points that you and your team have earned that game if you stayed. If you left before the game ended, you are only left with your contribution. If your primary goal is to get the class levels up, and you don't really care about the career level, then leaving the game at any point won't have any real downsides. However, if you want to get those big numbers for your career, then you would have to stay until the end of the game. I'll show you a couple charts on class levels and career levels, so you know how much experience you have to gain in order to get them. Additionally, I'll show you a chart that displays experience you can get for various activities. Links for these charts can be found in the description. Firstly, class levels. There are currently 10 levels for every class. The levels carry over between all factions, which means if your sniper class, for example, is currently level 5, then it is level 5 for Americans, Germans, British, and Soviets. Obtaining higher levels for different classes can unlock new loadouts and uniforms. Once you get level 10, you will still be rewarded with experience for your contribution, but your level will not progress any further. Secondly, the career levels. Maximum career level is currently 500. I would say first 100 levels come really fast, and after that it will get gradually slower. But the sense of progression does feel great. You know, getting the next rank after many hours of grinding. Career levels should indicate how much game knowledge a player has. Ideally, higher levels should be able to answer most, if not all, questions that newer players ask them. And of course, they should always set a good example as well. Once you get level 500, you will still be rewarded with experience, but your level will not progress any further. If you ever get there, then at that point you probably should know Hell Let Loose from inside out. Thirdly, the scoring system for various activities that are the base of the experience that you gain. Starting with combat score. Killing different classes gives you different scores. Note that you will not get the points when the player is incapacitated. They have to either bleed out, get finished, or let go themselves for you to get points. I would like to address the fact that the points will be given to the player who deals the final blow. So if somebody finishes off your enemy with a grenade or blows up the tank that you have already damaged, then you will not get the points, but they will get the points. There are two exceptions here, those being tank crew and artillery squad, and for them the experience is shared equally for the real value, but you have to be in the tank or operating the artillery. For each infantry killed by your team, the enemy loses one resource of manpower. Destroying enemy armor and vehicles give different points as well. Even though destroying structures and supply boxes give little experience, I recommend always destroying them, because that will be a resource that the enemy cannot use, and therefore it will be a small advantage for your team. Placing anti-personnel or anti-tank mines will also give combat score regardless of the class. On to the support score. We can see what type of structures we can build that give us the points and what other support activities give us points. One of the greatest sources of experience come from building nodes as an engineer, as those give you passive experience every minute, but only for you. I have made an engineer guide, you can check that out if you wish, but other structures give very decent points as well. And for example, when you help an engineer to finish a building with your hammer, you will get the same building points as they do. Small note here is that if you drop a blueprint and you don't finish the object yourself, you will get slightly less experience for that, as you will be missing out on the blueprint bonus. Then we can get points for reviving players, bandaging players, dropping all kinds of supply boxes and resupplying from them, and consuming supplies as well. Squad leaders can build garrisons and outposts, which will give points, and when people spawn from them, the points will be allocated for that as well. Driving the truck, either supply truck, transport truck, or a jeep, gives points every minute. And if the supply truck driver's supplies are consumed, he is rewarded with 1 point per 1 supply. Then there are commander's abilities which give points. Those will be awarded at the very second you order the command or click the ability. And last but not least, for every minute spent in an offensive zone or enemy territory, the red part of the map, you get 20 offensive score, and every minute you spent in a defensive zone, friendly territory, or blue part of the map, you get 20 defensive points. For both of these, it does not matter if you are in an active sector or inside a strong point or the circle. You will get the points regardless. Now, if you're in a neutral zone or an unclaimed territory or the gray part of the map, then you will get no points for that. Taking a neutral point or taking an enemy point does not give you any points. This concludes the most important bits and pieces about experience origin, distribution, calculation, and levels. And now the fun part. I'll go over some methods to level up your class fast. They vary by how actively you want to play. Some things are pretty AFK, while others require you to be more active. But before that, I promised to do a giveaway. I'll be picking 3 winners via randomization, and all 3 winners will receive a Hell Let Loose game copy from me to a platform of your choosing. Some of you surely have friends who wanted to try this game. All you have to do is subscribe and comment your favorite thing about this game. Winners will be picked out in the next video. First method is pretty AFK, and it has variations depending on how AFK you want it to be, as when you do more, you will get more points. I usually pick servers that are seeding that have around 10 people. Seeding means that the server is attempting to grow its player count to a certain point. Usually seeding ends when player count is above 50. Now, it depends on the server. But I picked them for the simple fact that most servers have seeding rules and players are not allowed to go over the middle cap, which means you can AFK in peace and you don't have to worry about someone interfering. Additionally, you are helping to seed the server. All you have to do is join a squad and become an engineer. If there is no squad available, you can ask someone to create one for you. Once you have spawned, find or ask a supply truck and take it over the second grid and build your nodes with your first supply crate. And use your second supply crate to build 3 repair stations, just to get those free points. If you want to level a specific class, then switch to that role, as all of your passive experience coming from the nodes will go to your currently played role. Nodes alone will give you 30 points a minute, plus you will get 20 points per minute spent in a defensive zone. To squeeze more out of this method, you can hop into a supply truck, transport truck, or a jeep. You don't really have to drive or even start it up, you just have to be in it. This will give you another 30 points per minute, and you will now get 80 points a minute just for AFKing with the class you want to level. That's pretty cool. But if you really want to cheese it up, you can switch teams and build another set of nodes. And don't forget to hop in the vehicle again. This would bring your total points earned per minute to 110. To conclude the first method, let's say your average game length is exactly 1 hour. Depending on how AFK you decided to be, you are looking at, for just nodes and staying in defensive zone, 3,500 points per hour. Nodes and trucking in defensive zone, that's 5,300 points an hour. For double nodes and trucking in a defensive zone, you would get 7,100 points per hour. From level 1 to 10, you would need 153,000 experience. This means that for the variations above, we are looking at, rounded up, approximately 44 hours to get level 10 on the first variation, 29 hours for the second variation, and 22 hours for the third variation. You can use this method practically in active games too. You just have to build your nodes before doing anything and play with the class you want to level as you normally would. I showed you what the approximate experience were if you weren't doing anything after building your nodes. So based on how much you can contribute to your active gameplay is what you're going to earn. I don't recommend hopping teams for double nodes in active games due to obvious reasons. Overall variations of this first method will give you the levels you are looking for fairly easily. Now, the second method is a controversial one. Some might say it's breaking the immersion, or even call it unfair or cheating because you really, quote unquote, are not earning it. But the elements of it are part of the game, and the community has found a way to make use of it. So it's perfectly okay if you choose this method, in my opinion. Let's be real, everyone just wants to enjoy the game. How they pursue that is totally up to them. There is a server where people build structures for absolutely insane experience per hour. In this server, I'm not exaggerating that it's possible to get from level 1 to 10 in a single game and get millions of career experience on top of that. It has only Karathan in the map pool and only offensive game mode setting. All the building action is done on the United States side, and you will have to be above level 30 with your career to join the server, and I'll quickly explain how this works. So whenever the game starts, we are going to need supply trucks, ideally 2, because one driver might not be able to deliver all the required supplies that are going to be needed on time. One supply truck will spawn automatically, and the additional one has to be spawned by the commander. People have different preferences, so setting up the game might start from any HQ, but usually it's in the middle or top HQ. Just look where the crowd is going. Now, since we are going to be building, you're going to need a class with a hammer, so you can assist with the building. If you want to level a class that does not have a hammer, but has a watch, like commander, squad leader, or a spotter, you can either build garrisons and dismantle them on repeat, just make sure you don't obstruct the driver's path, or you can drive the supply truck. If you want to level a class that does not have a hammer or a watch, like sniper, tank roles, medic. Additionally, there are 2 roles whose hammer loadouts come in level 3. Those are machine gunner and anti-tank. Then you can level them by just driving the supply truck. So one person in the server has to pick an engineer, as he will be a dedicated blueprint engineer. Ideal building setup consists of 2 perfectly aligned barricades made by the engineer, with just enough space in between for the engineer to stand in. Do not upgrade the barricades to level 3, as the models are too high for you to effectively stand on. Just keep them at level 1 or level 2. So the blueprint engineer will stand in the middle and will construct the bunker blueprint. Rest of the builders will either stand on barricades or near them. Take note that do not block the blueprint area. You roughly see how big it is, otherwise the engineer can't deploy it. Once the blueprint is in place, everyone starts building it and everyone gets the experience for it. If you are the engineer, then make sure to get a couple of hits in too, otherwise you won't get much experience. Once the bunker is built, engineer turns 180 degrees and places the bunker blueprint there. Everyone starts building again until it's tier 3, and the engineer turns around and places another blueprint, and so on. If you are one of the dedicated supply truck drivers, then your job is simple. Just drive in circles around the building area, not too close, but in 50-meter radius. Drop the supply boxes around the area, refill in the supply depot, and just keep doing that. Your experience will mainly come from driving and people consuming your supplies. Initially, a game length would be 30 minutes, but it can be extended to up to 3 hours via capturing the strong points. You can switch teams with exclamation point swap command in the chat. To do that, you need to have 5k points minimum. This is usually done when there is 2 or 3 minutes left on the clock. And all you have to do is capture the point. People extend games where you wouldn't want to waste time restarting, as you have a good setup going on. Also, it wouldn't hurt to ask the lobby if they want to extend it too. But in case the setup with barricades or supply boxes is messed up somehow and is beyond fixable, then it would be wiser to just wait until the match is over and restart it instead of extending it. General rules of the server are simple. Don't kill anyone under any circumstance. Don't do unnecessary stuff that will be harmful for the flow of experience, and just use common sense. I want to bring out that the experience rates are insane with this method. I did a test and we even didn't have the most optimal setup, and I got 1,315 experience a minute without nodes and just building. This would translate into getting from level 1 to 10 in approximately 116 minutes. So yeah, getting your max loadout in less than 2 hours from scratch is quite something. So we went over the basics of experience and covered the various methods of getting your experience fast. If you learned something from this video, do me a favor, drop me a like, subscribe, comment. It would help me out a lot. If I forgot something important, then feel free to drop me a comment. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the battlefield.